Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Shamshir Sound video. My name is Ali Nadem. In today's video, we're going to be looking at one of your guys' requests. You asked if I can make a tutorial on how to make a mashup. So today is going to be all about mashups. And we're going to put two tracks together. We're going to mash them up. And I usually do this in Tractor when I mix live. I like to do live mashups kind of on the fly. It's a really sick thing to do, to take like one track and then put another drop. So we're going to do that today. And firstly, go ahead and throw in the tracks that you're looking to mash up. In this case, just stick with two if you're just beginning. And in later videos, I'm definitely going to cover how to maybe like keep like the vocal or like blend the drops together. Today, we're going to be looking at just keeping it simple, of like a build up and then a different track drop. But with that being said, even though it's quote-unquote simple, it still has a lot of technical things you want to keep in mind. So firstly, we have this track by Kevu and Steven Vegas. It's called Tribu. We have one by Mount Black called Sandstorm. And these are both big room tracks. And it's important that you know the key and you figure out the key. So if you guys ever struggle finding the key, I like to use FL keys. Go ahead and make that detached. And you want to just listen to the drop area. So let's go to the drop. So I've listened to this track before, so I know it's in G minor, but always listen for that root key. So when I'm listening, and I hear it's that constant tone, which is G. And next we go to this track. Same thing. So same thing, these are both in G minor. And the next, you want to make sure you're working with the same BPM. If not the same BPM, at least stretch it to the correct BPM. And these should both be 128. Yep. And let's detect this one. So they're both 128. So now that we know we're both working with 128, they're both G minor, we're ready to mash up these tracks. So go ahead and zoom in. I use Control and I zoom in with my mouse wheel. And I like to click this magnet and click none. And I click this slip tool so I can move it around. Now, I do want that little bit of the intro. So I'm going to hit Control A and I'm going to move these. We'll do the drop like a bit further up just so I can have a little bit of space here. So what we're going to do is I want to mash up. I want to keep the drop of Sandstorm, but I want to put this kind of initial buildup of Tribu. So let's just listen to Tribu. So you want to look for this transient. You see that little punch there? So get that transient aligned, okay? You want that to be aligned to the grid so that way when we move the track, it's going to be right on the beat. And same with Sandstorm. Let's look and see where the drop is. All right, so let's get that as close as we can. So that's perfect. That looks really nice. And what I would do, because you're working with tracks that are like MP3s, maybe you have a wave, maybe you have a FLAC, like uncompressed audio, but generally speaking, you'll be working with MP3s. So I recommend put a limiter on the master, but try and get a limiter that is like pretty transparent. Most limiters are fine, FabFilter Pro L, anything from T-Rax, anything from Ozone, whatever you want to use. That's totally up to you. I'm going to use something a bit special here. I'm just going to throw on the Waves L3 because it really doesn't, like, for me, I really like the transparency of this plugin when you just leave it the way it is. And we have this, just these defaults are fine, 24-bit dithering, we'll just leave that. And we're going to want to make sure we route these. So assign that. So route them because this will give us more control if we want to do a bit of like filter action. So now we have to decide how do we want to introduce and exit these tracks. So because we want the Tribu track to play, I'm going to do something where I do something like this. I'm going to do a little cut here. So do a little slice action. And yeah, you could do something like this. And let's see how this sounds. However, it usually will always help that initial punch of the drop if you fade in. Because like when you have just this, right? It doesn't really help that transient, that little build. It's better if you kind of fade into it, and it can be like a very quick fade, but a fade nonetheless will be good, and maybe a fade out for the tribu track. So this is basically the 4 bars before the drop. So what I would recommend is just go here and do automate volume. All right, and then you have a nice 0 to 100%. And let's just put that below it. And let's do the same thing for the tribu track. But maybe we'll go downwards. But hopefully it doesn't. Let's see what happens. Because they're both talking, like he says something, and then pay attention to the drums. So it's when you do mashups, be careful with vocals clashing on vocals, because then it just is like, it's just blurry, right? It's just blurry. So what I would recommend, maybe I can get away with this. Maybe, let's see if this works. No, that's also not good, because this fades out really quick, or fades it out. Yeah, it sounds weird, like an empty space. Let's make it even tighter. Let's just do 1 bar. See, like, it's that small details, and this is so tiny, but I feel like this could help. What we're gonna do now is, let's also take a look at the levels, right? You know, before we talk about filters and using filters or any other effects, it's really about the leveling, because how loud is tribu? Because if tribu is getting, like, building up loud, like, let's say tribu built up -6 RMS, and then Sandstorm by Mount Black is, like, quieter, then the listener is expecting a huge drop, but then the drop that you put is, like, not as satisfying, if that makes sense. So let's just turn these off, and I want to listen to see how loud is tribu at the drop. For that, I recommend using a Voxengo span, but use whatever you'd like, any meter that will show you the RMS. There's also the Ulean plugin, which is free. I like span. I've been using it for a long time. So go right to the drop and just examine the RMS. So we're looking at about, like, it's hitting -7, -6.9 RMS. So now let's listen to Sandstorm. You see what I mean? Like, this tribu has a 1 dB kind of gain over him, over Mount Black, because... And what I would recommend maybe in this situation, perhaps it might be a good idea for us to maybe back this down, -1 decibel. Now let's see what happens. Oh, that didn't work because it re-automated. So let's go right here. You know what? Let's do it this way. Just throw in a fruity balance. And now let's examine the RMS. Now, perhaps it's going to be more leveled. Let's see. Let's go to, like, the build up here. And perhaps if that messes with the Steven Vegas track, maybe we can bounce this threshold down to maybe just pancake it together. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Now let's see if we can maybe do something creative with the break. Now I think the Steven Vegas track has some BPM fluctuations, but let's see what we can do here. Yeah, sometimes, you know, some tracks have different structures, or they might have times where they push off of alignment because they have like a 4 bar before their break. So not always can you get tracks that are just like exact same structure. So here what I would do is I'm just going to leave this the way it is. But I really like the vocal of this. Let's listen here. I like this vocal. Let's see if we can just make it a bit more sophisticated with this build up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. We can come back to them, but why not have like an alternative in case we want a bit more power, a bit more control. So we'll do a fruity balance. This is for Mount Black. And we'll reach the default volume right at the bar there. And I'm thinking we will fade in. And let's try fading out this guy. We'll put a second fruity balance because the first one is just to fix the volume. Perhaps this will work. And we will probably have to play around with the curves. And let's try EQing it as well.
Attention to the drums. Attention to the drums. Attention to the drums.
That's pretty cool. I like that. And even though you'd think, well, one should go this way and one should go this way, don't be deceived, because like I think earlier in the days I used to think, okay, will this go linear and this one go linear and you guys will cross paths and it's just equaled, but it's not about that at all. This, you can see it has like a bigger curve, but we need to retain that volume and kind of like fade in Mount Black slowly. So I think this is it's a bit more suitable than what we had before. What we had before is just like right on the dot, which is you know, if you're doing it in FL, maybe putting a bit more thought into it would definitely pay off, I think. So let's just quickly listen to this.
Attention to the drums.
That's cool. I like this. So let's see if there's anything else we can do. Any more interesting things that we can do with this guy. Let's go here and let's just quickly listen. Perhaps let's just go to the let's just bring him back and do like go to the break of Steven Vegas. And what we'll do here is we'll kind of do what we did there, but a shorter version of it. So I'm going to click here, hold. Actually, we don't want hold. Well, hold can remain there, or a point can remain there, but we want to kind of fade out. Maybe like same 23% is what I went with there. And then we'll fade this one in. We'll fade in Kevu. Kevu and Steven Vegas. Steven Vegas has sick tracks. Definitely check out his songs. Really, really big inspiration. And really dope. Same with Kevu, same with Mount Black. Really, really great music. So if you want to make some bang in big room, you want something to reference, something to get inspired by, definitely check those guys out. So let's see what happens with this. Not a good idea. This probably this needs to be sharper. Okay, sick. And then we'll just go back to the Sandstorm drop, but we'll use drop 2 so that we have the outro from Sandstorm. And so let's just find that second drop. Let's do this so I can hear it.
Pay attention to the drums.
So there it is, and this is why we move it on the grid, because then we can just do this stuff very easily. And now all we have to do is just simulate what we had here. Get that build up going on, put it there, and we're gonna basically slice and copy paste the automation clips that we already made.
Attention to the drums.
Now, I think, did he have tempo fluctuation? I think. Yeah, so that explains why it's not like on the same bar, but I think his build-up is still the same. Oh, it isn't actually. So this is a bit tricky. This he's doing like he's going down in tempo and he's speeding up. So with that being said, should we try to do something weird like that? It might work. It might work. Let's see. What we'll do. This is going to be challenging. This is definitely going to be challenging. So I'm going to find his kick, like where it hits right there. So that's perfect right there. However, we have a problem. We have a problem in the sense that his track goes to a slow BPM. Damn, this is going to be tough. I wouldn't recommend this because we don't know at what point Steven Vegas automated the tempo. It's a mystery, and this could result in just so much effort being poured into it and resulting in, because when I think of this, like, yeah, I can automate the tempo, but if I automate the tempo, you see this, we don't know when he automated the tempo. So because of that, I would advise against this, but at least we saw kind of an idea, like experimentation, but I still wouldn't recommend doing this. Tempo fluctuations are very difficult to plan and almost impossible. I wouldn't say impossible, but they're definitely not worth, because we don't know if we listen to this. Because of that, I don't know if he landed right on 110 or if he's slowly transitioned to 110, because he did do a transition for the build-up. Here he's transitioning to a faster speed, but let's just make it easy, and we are instead of automating the tempo, we're just going to go ahead and just do like some sort of quick fade in to the Mount Black track again. Why not? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and because we're not reusing those automations. This is something a bit different.
Attention to the drums. 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 Attention to the drums.
I think we can get away right here. Maybe instead of like doing the full build-up, maybe we can do it like right there. Right there. 0.8. And let's do this 23%. And what did I do for this guy? I did 14%. So I'm going to do the same thing. 14%. Okay, and I'm going to bring this. What did we do here? We returned to 80% 4 bars before the drop. Okay, so same thing with this guy. And I think we're good now. So it didn't go exactly how I envisioned, but you know, that happens. That happens, so that's okay. And we're gonna leave this at, ooh, we don't want 100%, be careful. Fruity balance is always 80% is the like the default value. But when you do this, automate volume, it's 0 to 100 with that clip that I turned off. So let's go ahead here. We have, it looks pretty good. One thing I like to do, I take the cutting tool and I right click just to clean it up. And it's looking nice. I'm going to now just move this guy up and just disable it. And just give these a, give them like a name. I always like to stay organized. I always like to have stuff just easy to see, separated, because if you don't, it's just going to make your life harder. And we always want to have an easier life, right? Sandstorm. Yeah. Sandstorm. For some reason, I thought it was spelling it differently. You ever have that when you look at a word and you're like, is that actually the way it's spelled? All right, so let's, I don't want to play the whole thing because of copyright. But what I would recommend now, remember how I talked about this space? Let's go ahead and right click this. Why not leave a little bit of space? It's always good to leave a little bit space, because if you start right away, it can result in like a not so pleasant sound. So leave a little bit space. So what did we do here? Very simple, just a volume type of mashup. We took Tribu, which is 128, Sandstorm, which is 128. They're both G minor, and we mashed them up together just using volume leveling. And it's pretty very simple. We did duck down Tribu 1 decibel, and and that's visible right here, because I figured I want the Mount Black track to slam a bit more, and rather than boosting the Mount Black track, I'd rather duck down the Tribu track, so that way kind of like they're more matched in terms of RMS. To compensate, I kind of pumped one extra for the threshold inside of the limiter, but again, that's up to you what you want to do. And let's just go ahead here and have a quick listen.
Attention to the drums.
That transition is sick. And you see, even though this is something so simple, you know, you might get guys telling you, put 10 filters on, put this high pass. Bro, it's all about the leveling at the end of the day. You know, that's hype. That's hype. Now let's go here. That transition is also good. And then let's go to this part.
Pay attention to the drums. Attention to the drums.
I'm happy with this, guys. I'm going to render it. I'm going to show you how I would render it. And we're going to just take a look here at where it ends. So we'll just call it a wrap right there. So that's essentially it. Give this a name. I'm going to save this. So once you've saved your project, get ready for render. And what am I going to select? Everything from the beginning, because we shifted the track. I'm going to also do, like, it's good to leave a space, but not too much empty space. Like, you know, you don't want like a huge empty space. So what I would recommend is I'm going to even cut one more bar. Control A. Oops, there we go. And that's nice. That's more of what I wanted. And then we'll move this there. So now we have it all selected. We're ready to go. Double check with your master. Master is looking good. And now I'm going to go ahead and type in the info that I want. So when you're making a mashup, when you're doing the naming, so what I would do is I would do something like this. I would do Kevu, because we're starting with Kevu and Steven Vegas. So I would do Kevu and Steven Vegas times Mount Black, and then we'll say Tribu Sandstorm, Ali Nadem mashup. All right, so keeping it simple, I'll call this Big Room. And you can fill in the author and stuff, but when you're rendering an MP3, you can always do that afterwards as well. But whatever, we'll just we'll put them in there as well. Oops. It's always good to like put the details the right way, keeping it clean, you know. And the comment stuff is not as important, but there we go. Now we have it all ready. Double check Kevu and Steven Vegas times Mount Black, Tribu Sandstorm, Ali Nadem mashup. So it's looking good. We're now going to render the MP3. I'm just going to copy that. So I'm going to go to File Export. I'm going to render both a wave and an MP3. So we did 24-bit dithering inside of the Waves L3 limiter. So I'm going to render it as that. Here, Kevu and Steven Vegas times Mount Black, Tribu Sandstorm, Ali Nadem mashup. And I'm going to do wave MP3 24-bit. Don't turn on the dithering here because I'm doing dithering in the limiter. You want the master effects, you want the insert effects, you want the trim PDC silence because we don't want like extra ADMS silence because of Waves L3. Save the tempo information. Sometimes I forget that I have this turned down, so I'm always OCD with this, and I hit reset, so just do that just in case. You don't want to render something and it's like turned down minus 12 dB or something. But we're looking good here. Wave MP3. It's all looking nice. I'm not going to turn this on. I don't need HQ for all plugins. And if you're ever wondering why you render something and it sounds weird, because HQ for all plugins will change the way some of those plugins are for some of the effects, some of the synths. So I leave everything the same way my project is, the same way I render, because I don't want it to be like vastly different. You know what I mean? So let's render that. And then we'll take a look at the final waveform, what it looks like, and that's essentially a wrap. And there we have it, guys. We have the wave, we have the MP3. We can drag both of them in, and there we have them. It looks pretty nice. I like the waveform, and we can disable the L3, and we will just listen to one of these guys. Let's go ahead and listen.
Attention to the drums. Pay attention to the drums.
Pay attention to the drums. I love that. Mount Black's the best. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. You can download this project for free in the video description. Check it out. If you guys enjoyed it, please remember to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed and you hit that notification bell, because I got more juicy tutorials and samples headed your way. And that is a wrap, guys. Thank you for your time for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you have any requests for tutorials, please feel free to drop a comment and I will make a video for it. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.